Hi everyone and welcome to another episode of UTD Scuba Diving TV, coming to you from lovely France. We're about to go in for the third cave dive of today, this nice cave class we're going here with these two fine young gentlemen, one is young, one is an elderly gentleman. But I'd like to take this opportunity to talk about there's a scooter falling out of a car. To take the opportunity to talk about the equipment match and how important that is to go over nice and calm. And it starts when you put your equipment together. So if you have a look at this, see, these gentlemen were smart in thinking, okay, let's put one tank there, one tank there, so that by the time they get kitted up, they're opposite each other to do their equipment match. Makes it nice and relaxed, the sets can stay still and nice and easy. I don't have one of these luxurious benches, so I use what nature provides, or what the French government provides, which is a wall with stuff on. So when you come to a dive site, you want to start by looking at the logistics of the dive site to make sure that you place yourself and your equipment in such a way that it's easy to do the equipment match. That way you don't have to log around. Now we're lucky, it's nice and warm today, but not crazy warm, so it's not so much of a problem. But if it's like warm sunshine, warm sunny day, you want to find a piece of shade, somewhere where it's comfortable, you can stay without cooking yourself. So let me get into my equipment and I'll show you step by step the equipment match. Alright, so once you got kitted up, now normally I would have my hood on as well, but now for the sake of, and a mask, but for sake of demonstration, we'll leave them here beside me so I can talk more clearly. Don't be afraid to use your wet notes. Make a little list inside your wet notes with all the ports you need to go over, because as you can see, there's quite a bit. So don't be shy to work with the list and talk to your team about all the points on that list. That's what it's meant for. Work towards remembering them by heart, but use the list if you need to. No shame in that. It actually shows good prudence when you use lists like this. Alright? So I would suggest start by kitting up completely. So hood on, mask on, gloves on, instruments in place, everything except your fins. Now you're ready. You get used to working with the gloves and you don't have to put other stuff on afterwards, because then the equipment match is kind of pointless, because then you might forget what you didn't put on before you did your match. Now, as a general rule of thumb, we'd like to start from the top down and from the right to the left. So start by hood, yes, and mask, yes, we have that, perfect. And the team confers. So you don't have to go military style and go hood, check, mask, check. You don't have to do that. Make it fun, make it casual, but keep it serious. So put yourself in this position where you can see your whole team and you talk slowly through the whole thing. So I got the hood, got the mask. I check if the right valve is open and the manifold is open and the left valve is open. All open. Now I go regulators. Primary regulator. I'm breathing air. Necklace. Also breathing fine. Perfect. We can test the wing. Now, the wing, we want to check multiple things. A, that the inflator is working. It's in place and it's working. We want to hear the inflator stop giving gas as soon as we stop pushing the button. Perfect. Now we want to feel for the integrity of the wing by pushing back, because big holes, big gaping holes would show up here. You can feel, okay, it's not holding air. Smaller holes you can see in the bubble check if necessary. But big holes like this, perfect. Now a dump valve. Same procedure. You want to hear the gas go out, obviously, but stops going out when you stop pushing the button. And finally, you want to check the dump valve. Make sure that stays closed when you don't pull the cord and dumps a bit of gas when you pull the cord. Now the wing is also properly inflated for your entry. Dry suit, inflates, and make sure your valve is in the position that you like to dive it with. I prefer mine to be open. and we go one level down. More, we have our instruments. So I go computer, bottom timer, and compass. I go one level down. I have my lights. So I want to check if my primary light works. That works. I want to check if my backup lights work. Now here it comes a good tip. Put your right hand, in this case this is my left backup light, hold your backup light. Feel down the backup light and take it out of the bungee. Now this is a twist to turn on. Shine your light, it works. Turn it off, but if you only turn it off when the light just goes away, you risk the water pressure actually turning on your light. And you don't want that. So make sure that it's completely off, and when you push it, it doesn't turn on. Keep it in your right hand in this case. Feel down your webbing until you feel your bungee, and you pull the bungee out and put the light back into its place. If you get used to this before every dive, that your backup lights has to come out of that bungee when you want to test it, you become better at it and better at it and better at it. If it becomes super easy here on land, it becomes doable underwater. If it's hard on land, it's impossible underwater. So make sure you stay calm and do these things. If your equipment doesn't really want to work with you, change it so that it does work with you. All right, we go further down. We have our webbing here, so we can look at our cutting device. Our cutting device has to be presented so we can see the state and the order. If you use one of those old-fashioned potato peelers, eventually the peeler comes off and you just have a little plastic handle. You don't want that. Also, inspect it for not too much rust. Then place it back in the harness. Cutting device on your harness should be reachable with your left hand and your right hand. And both hands should be able to reach it. If you have a weight system, this is where you cover this, weight belt or whatever. In this case I have a V weight. And then we can look at the SPG part of your instrument. 215 bar. Perfect. Keep it there. But our pocket content. So instead of just hoping it's in there, open up, have a look, or have a feel for what is in there. Left pocket content. I have a pair of scissors, safety scissors. I have a safety spool, and I have a backup mask. And in the top flap of my pocket, I have a backup GoPro and a leash. In my right pocket, I have my pigtail with 10 rems. I have my wet notes, and I have a spare double ender in my top pocket. And now I put my wet notes back in my pocket, because otherwise it kind of defeats the whole idea of this equipment match. Alright, then we go further down, we say fins, and we end up with accessories or extras. That can be camera, in this case I have to film these guys, but it can also be the main reel, in this case for cave diving. It can be scooter, it can be whatever you have as extra with you underwater. Take your time for these equipment matches. It really slows the tempo down, makes everyone calm and relaxed, and make sure to know where it is. Especially with the pocket content. Yesterday, these two guys were on a dive where we practiced doing jumps. And we had enough gas and they're very switched on divers, so we came to a point where they could make a second jump back to the line. Both divers knew what they had. The diver in the rear was aware enough that the diver in the front, who was making the jump, didn't have an extra spool. So he already picked this spool out of his pocket. The diver in the front turned around and he was presented with the spool right away. Now that's a nice example of a switched on thinking team that just aids in the efficiency of the dive. Alright guys, I hope you found that interesting. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe, turn on notifications and all that mumbo jumbo so you know next time we put on a video. It's been a while, so if you put the notifications on, you'll get a notification next time I put one online. But other than that, see you out there and stay sharp. Really?